we have had two significant steps that have been made towards Supreme Court reform. One by Joe Biden, President Joe Biden himself, and one from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. On July 29th, Joe Biden announced three proposals for the Supreme Court. First, he announced a proposal for term limits for the justices. I believe he said term limits of 18 years, y'all. Can you imagine? I mean, 18 years? Imagine 18 years being a term limit. Then he also proposed having a binding code of ethics for the Supreme Court. And then finally, he proposed a constitutional amendment overturning the court's decision, allowing sitting presidents to violate the criminal law. Of course, he's referring there to their recent decision in favor of Donald Trump that said that presidents now have immunity for any thing that is deemed an official act while they are presidents. And this is what he's referring to when he says that they can break the law. Because that's what they said. They said you could break the law as long as you're doing it under the official acts as president. That still trips me out. I feel like nobody's talking about this and everybody's just like, oh, well, that is insane. But anyway, so he came up with these three proposals for the Supreme Court. And by the way, Vice President Kamala Harris also supports this. She stands behind this. And I love this. I love the fact that, like, he's sitting here saying, you know, first and foremost, term limits. Yes, please. We should have had this a long time ago. I'm trying to understand why we don't already have term limits. Why? Where? How can you get I just don't understand how you can be entitled to a job to the day you die. What? How does that work? I just think it's the craziest thing. Also, this isn't just like working at a computer for like, working corporate for your whole life. You are impacting people's lives. You are basically a public official. Why in the hell should public officials ever be officials for life? That makes absolutely no sense. And I can't believe that this wasn't already established. And I guess maybe some people might say like, well, you know, people weren't living that long. Most justices were dead by the time they were like 60. But things have changed. So we should have changed along with it. And I just think it's so wild that people can just stay there forever. I love this idea of term limits. It allows there to be a constant kind of new energy coming in. And because not everybody's being elected at the same time, some people will be there, you know, will be senior members. Some people will have the wisdom and have the time and you know, and also like no one's saying you have to, there's not an age limit. That, you know, my friends, I hate to break it to you, the ones who believe in age limits for any kind of officials, Congress, Supreme Court, I fear that may be ageist. I think really what we need to be looking for is term limits, because there are old people and young people who got it. So I love this idea for term limits, and I'm just like, I love it. Next is the binding code of ethics, because y'all, the Supreme Court has been wildin'. Literally since since Donald Trump was able to appoint, I believe, 3 or 4 justices, and now we have a 6-3 super majority in the favor of conservatives, okay? Ever since then, like, the things that they've been doing have been, they just literally said that presidents are immune from criminal prosecution for doing any illegal acts, official acts. They also have literally been holding up the president's other cases by sitting on them and wasting time and ruling like awkwardly in his favor, but not really. And then we talked about some of their most recent rulings. You can go back a few episodes where they basically, you know, made it easier for companies and made it to exploit their employees, made it easier for companies to pollute the environment, like made it easy for them to pollute their screw their consumers. Like, in addition to other things, like they unbanned bump stocks. Like, they're just out here doing wild ass shit. And, and also not just that, it's the fact that they have been, weighing in on cases where there are clear conflicts of interest. Clear conflicts of interest. How are you weighing in on an immunity case for Donald Trump when he's the one that appointed you to your position? How are you weighing in on January 6th rioters when your wife helped orchestrate it? Judge Clarence Thomas? How are you weighing in on January 6th rioters when you put up a symbol in front of your house that showed you were sympathetic to January 6th rioters? Judge Alito? And then you try to blame it on your wife. How do that work? So I am so for this as well. Like, yes, there should be a code of ethics, and not just a code of ethics, but a code of ethics that is enforceable. Because essentially, the Supreme Court is just like the police. They police themselves. They decide whether or not the things that they're doing are ethical. What the hell kind of system is that? And then they have the nerve to look in your face and say the justice system is fair. How, Sway?